Taiwan, an island with a population of just over 23 million, has long been a focal point in the struggle for dominance between global superpowers, particularly the United States and China. It might seem surprising to some that this small nation has such outsized importance on the global stage, but its unique geopolitical position and economic significance have placed Taiwan in the crosshairs of a tense and often dangerous power struggle. Behind the apparent prosperity and advanced technology that characterize Taiwan today, a darker, more complicated reality is at play, a hidden crisis where internal and external pressures threaten the island's future. The first thing that makes Taiwan so vital is its strategic location. Sitting in the heart of the East China Sea, Taiwan controls key maritime routes that are crucial for global trade. The Taiwan Strait is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, with nearly 90% of the world's largest container ships passing through it every year. The control of this narrow waterway has immense military and economic implications, which explains why both China and the United States are so invested in Taiwan's fate. For the US, Taiwan is a critical ally that represents a democratic bulwark in a region increasingly influenced by China's authoritarian regime. For China, Taiwan is a thorn in its side, an issue rooted not only in geography, but in national identity, with reunification being seen as an essential part of China's long-term goals. Recent events in 2024 have highlighted just how tense the situation has become. China's military activities around Taiwan have reached new levels of intensity, with frequent air and naval incursions. In February 2024, China staged its largest military drills yet, simulating an amphibious invasion of Taiwan. The maneuvers sent a clear signal that Beijing is willing to take increasingly aggressive steps to assert its claim over the island. For the Taiwanese people, these military exercises are a constant reminder of the existential threat they live under, with many fearing that a military conflict is no longer a distant possibility, but an imminent danger. Taiwan's technological prowess further complicates this geopolitical puzzle. The island is home to Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, the world's largest and most advanced semiconductor manufacturer. Semiconductors, or microchips, are the backbone of modern technology, powering everything from smartphones and computers to military equipment and medical devices. Taiwan produces more than 60% of the global supply of semiconductors, with TSMC alone responsible for over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. The global reliance on Taiwan's semiconductor industry cannot be overstated. Any disruption to this supply would send shockwaves through the global economy. For China, gaining control over Taiwan would mean securing dominance over the technology that powers much of the modern world. While for the US and its allies, keeping Taiwan independent is essential to maintaining access to this critical industry. This strategic importance has drawn the attention of both the United States and China for decades. Since the end of the Chinese Civil War in 1949, when the defeated nationalist government fled to Taiwan after losing to the communists on the mainland, Taiwan has existed in a state of ambiguous sovereignty. While it operates as a fully functioning democracy, with its own government, military and economy, China views Taiwan as a renegade province, not a separate country. Over the years, Beijing has increased its military posturing, frequently sending warplanes into Taiwan's air defense identification zone and conducting military exercises in the Taiwan Strait. These displays of force are designed to keep Taiwan on edge, while also sending a message to the rest of the world that China will not tolerate any move toward formal Taiwanese independence. The United States, for its part, has maintained a delicate policy of strategic ambiguity for decades. While the US does not formally recognize Taiwan as an independent nation due to its diplomatic recognition of China, it continues to provide Taiwan with military support and weaponry under the Taiwan Relations Act, ensuring that the island can defend itself against potential Chinese aggression. In 2020 alone, the US sold Taiwan $5 billion in advanced weapons systems, including fighter jets and missile defense systems. This military support has helped deter China from attempting a full-scale invasion, but it has also escalated tensions in the region. For many, the question is not if, but when China will make a serious move to reclaim Taiwan, and whether the United States would intervene in such a scenario. Taiwan's economic success, while a source of pride, also masks significant internal challenges. The country is often seen as a model of development, with a per capita GDP of over $33,000, placing it among the wealthiest economies in Asia. But Taiwan's reliance on global trade and high-tech industries comes at a price. The wealth generated by its booming tech sector has been unevenly distributed, contributing to rising income inequality. While those working in Taiwan's tech industry enjoy high salaries and benefits, many others are left behind. For example, in 2023, the average starting salary for a tech worker in Taiwan was around $33,000 a year, whereas workers in other industries earned far less, with the national minimum wage sitting at just $886 per month. This disparity has led to social unrest, particularly among younger generations who are struggling with rising living costs and limited job opportunities outside of the tech sector. Housing prices in Taiwan have become a major point of contention. In Taipei, the capital, real estate prices have skyrocketed over the past decade, increasing by more than 50% since 2015. The average price per square meter in Taipei now exceeds $10,000, making it one of the most expensive cities in the world for real estate. Many young people find themselves priced out of the housing market, forced to live with their parents well into adulthood, or rent small, cramped apartments. The government has implemented various housing policies to try and cool the market, but so far, these measures have had little impact on affordability. The disconnect between wages and housing costs has become a source of frustration for many Taiwanese citizens, who feel that the government is not doing enough to address the growing wealth gap. Taiwan also faces a demographic time bomb that threatens its long-term economic stability. The island has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, with only 1.07 children per woman as of 2023. This is far below the replacement rate of 2.1 needed to maintain a stable population. As a result, Taiwan's population is aging rapidly, with nearly 17% of its citizens now over the age of 65. The implications of this demographic shift are profound. A shrinking workforce will make it increasingly difficult for Taiwan to maintain its economic growth, while the rising costs of pensions and healthcare for the elderly will place a heavy burden on public finances. The government has tried to incentivize families to have more children through various subsidies and benefits, but these measures have done little to reverse the trend. With fewer young people entering the workforce and an aging population placing increasing demands on social services, Taiwan's future economic sustainability is in jeopardy. Politically, Taiwan's democratic system is both a source of pride and a point of vulnerability. While Taiwan's democracy is often hailed as one of the most vibrant in Asia, it is also deeply polarized. The political divide between those who favor maintaining the status quo with China and those who advocate for formal independence has created a volatile political environment. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party, led by President Tsai Ing-wen, leans toward independence, while the opposition Kuomintang advocates for closer ties with Beijing, albeit without surrendering Taiwan's autonomy. This political tug-of-war complicates Taiwan's ability to navigate its relationship with China, especially as Beijing exerts more pressure on the island to reunify with the mainland. Public opinion in Taiwan is also divided on the issue. While a majority of Taiwanese citizens favor maintaining the status quo, there is growing support among younger generations for a more assertive stance on independence, even if it risks military conflict with China. Internationally, Taiwan is in a precarious position. Although the island maintains unofficial diplomatic relations with many countries, including the United States, it is not formally recognized as a sovereign state by most of the world due to pressure from China. Beijing has aggressively pursued a policy of diplomatic isolation, using its economic leverage to convince countries to sever formal ties with Taiwan. In recent years, several nations, including El Salvador and the Solomon Islands, have switched their diplomatic recognition from Taipei to Beijing. This diplomatic isolation leaves Taiwan vulnerable on the international stage, as it is unable to fully participate in global organizations like the United Nations, where China wields significant influence. In addition to its diplomatic challenges, Taiwan faces the constant threat of economic coercion from China. Despite the political tensions between the two, China remains Taiwan's largest trading partner, accounting for nearly 30% of Taiwan's exports in 2023. This economic dependence gives Beijing leverage, as it can use trade restrictions to punish Taiwan for any perceived moves toward independence. For instance, in 2021, China banned imports of Taiwanese pineapples, a symbolic move meant to send a message to Taipei without causing major economic damage. However, the reliance on Chinese trade means that Taiwan is always vulnerable to more severe forms of economic retaliation if tensions escalate. The complexities of Taiwan's position on the global stage are both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness. The island's success in becoming an economic powerhouse and a beacon of democracy has made it a crucial player in the global economy, but its precarious geopolitical situation, coupled with its internal social and economic challenges, makes its future uncertain. Taiwan's continued resilience will depend not only on its ability to navigate the pressures from China and the United States, but also on its capacity to address the deep-rooted issues within its own society. As the world watches the growing tension between Taiwan and China, the stakes are high. A conflict over Taiwan would have catastrophic consequences, not just for the island but for the entire global economy, given Taiwan's pivotal role in the technology sector. The next decade will be crucial in determining whether Taiwan can maintain its independence and continue to thrive, or whether it will be pulled into the orbit of a rising China. Whatever the outcome, Taiwan's story is far from over, and its future will shape the course of history for generations to come.